Good day, students. Welcome to Geography Term 2. So, our first topic for this work is going to be the structure of the Earth. So, basically, we're going to dissect the Earth and see what the components of the Earth are. So, the Earth is basically has three major structures. It has the core, the mantle, and the crust. Right. But the core is divided into inner core and the outer core. So basically, let's dive into it. So basically, the structure of the Earth is a spheroid. It is made out of the crust, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. So the definition of spheroid is a shaped like a ball, but slightly flattened at the top and bottom. Okay. So let's look at the crust. So basically, imagine like looking at the Earth. Uh, you compare it to an apple, and then you cut it in half. So basically, you're gonna see the outer layer is going to be the crust, right? So the outer layer of the earth is like the skin around a peach or an apple. It is the thinnest layer. It's made out of hard rock. It's about six to 60 kilometers thick. It is thinnest under the deep oceans and thickest under high mountains. So basically, if you dive into the ocean, so that is where you'll find the thinnest layer of the crust. But if you go up a mountain, because it's made out of rock, so it's going to be thickest around there. And then the temperature of the crust is approximately about 1200 degrees Celsius. And there's a layer that divides between the crust and the mantle, and it's called the mantle. Now let's dive into the mantle. So if you're moving from the crust going into the mantle, so the mantle is about 2,900 kilometers thick, right? So the layer between the crust and the core, we said, is called the mantle. So the top layer of mantle is made out of hard rock, and then the remainder of the mantle is semi-molten rock. So it's basically in a liquid state. The temperature is about 5,000 degrees Celsius, and that causes convectional currents to move the rock in the mantle. So basically, we're going to talk about the movement of the Earth that are caused by the convectional currents. But like for now, let's focus on the convectional currents. So what are the convection current? So these are circular movements of material in the mantle. So if you look in the diagram in front of you, you're gonna see those circular movements. That is what we call convection current. So molten, it means it's heated to a very high temperature so that it becomes a liquid. And then the minerals, it's natural substance that are found in the rock. So from the mantle, you move to the core. The core is the central part of the earth. It is about 3,400 kilometers thick. Uh, the inner part of the core is solid, and it's about 1,400 kilometers. And the reason why the inner core is solid is because of the pressure coming from the crust, the mantle, and the outer core. Right. So the outer core is in a molten state, and it's about 2,000 kilometers thick. And then it's probably made out of minerals like iron and nickel. Right. And remember, we said it's under high pressure because of the pressure coming from the mantle and the crust. Okay, let's move on. Now we're gonna talk about how the Earth, the tectonic plates moves, right, and their movements. So geologists are people who study the rocks and the movement of the Earth. And then those giant slabs that moves are called plates. And these plates can be thousands of kilometers wide with the whole continent on them, right? So plates are huge pieces of the earth crust, sometimes with the whole continent on the plate. So plate tectonics is the movement of large plates making up the earth's surface. So what are the earth's plate? So if you look at the image in front of you guys, you're gonna see that it is the earth is like divided into sort of like a puzzle. So those puzzles pieces are what we call plates, right? So geologists have studied the places where plates meet and found out that these plates move at an average speed of about 3 to 5 centimeters a year. So what could cause massive heavy slabs of earth to move? So we know that the movement, like we said, because the mantle and the inner core and the outer core, sorry, is molten, and then it's under high temperatures, and because of those high temperatures, there's convection currents. Those convection currents are responsible for the movement of those plates, and we call that movement plate tectonics. Right. So what are the types of plate movements? We have divergent movements. So this is when plates move away from one another or move in opposite directions. For example, we have South American plate and the African plate. So when they move away from each other, new land is formed because of the mantle, the molten rock coming from the mantle, moving to the surface, and then when it gets to the surface, it solidifies, making a new land. The other type of movement is convergent movement. So this is when two different types of plates move towards one another. So because of that movement, there is destruction of land. One plate goes or sinks into the mantle, the other one goes on top of the other one. And then the other type of movement, the last one, is the transformation movement. So this is when certain plates slide past one another. For example, the Pacific plate and the North American plate of the St. Andreas Fault. Okay, we have come to the end of the lesson, guys, for the earth structure and its movements.